Hi, this is Cynthia Makris. Well, last time I talked to you about eroticism in the opera. And it's there, and it's also there in the stylish way that opera as an art form is. It's embedded in the beauty and the nobility and the majesty of the art form. So my theme today is partly about that and how you can exaggerate it to the point where it doesn't work anymore. The main theme is, what does it mean to modernize opera? What does it mean to bring it up to date so that an audience of today might be interested in, something that belongs in a museum? So I have a couple of different opinions about it. There are stage directors who really can take you out of the real world, the world that you can touch and understand, where a chair is from the time that the opera was composed and the costumes are from the time the opera was composed. They can take you to a place where you're kind of off balance because you're not really anywhere. And if they're artful, if they know what they're doing, it can be even more powerful that way, because you've started the audience off a little bit out of balance. They don't quite know where they are, so they might pay attention even more. I've worked with people like that who have such potency in their being and such vision that they could tell you anything and you'd be able to do it. And the other thing about a true genius who stages opera is he doesn't interfere with the psychology of the characters. So as long as what you're singing makes sense in the terms of who that person you're playing is throughout the whole evening and what the music is already telling you that the person is, well, you could sprout wings and fly if necessary, and it would still work. And then there's the way to modernize opera, which is just kind of, proclaiming to the world that you don't have a clue what opera is actually about. And that's, you don't immerse yourself in the immensity of the greatness of the art form. So you start fixing it. And who would go to an art museum and, take a paintbrush that you'd paint a house with and, just put some primary yellow and red and green on a Rembrandt? Nobody would. So that's the kind of modernization in opera that actually is not fair to the composer, and it's not fair to the audience, because audiences can be seduced into a world which is not the world they live in every day. And it might even be more fun to be in a world where people are dressed a bit differently, there are period costumes, and you're not faced with the absolute brutality of the pictures that you see on TV every day, that you get to digest the human experience in a way that's not so in your face and so brutal. And if you are a stage director who doesn't quite get the opera, you can also just not understand the psychology of the people and make up your own story and paste it on top. And what happens, that instead of bringing the opera closer to the audience, you put a real barrier between what's happening on stage and what the audience is experiencing, because the singers, who may give it their best shot to, tell your story and also try to tell the composer's story at the same time, they're going to feel uncomfortable, and the audience will feel it, and the audience will also feel uncomfortable. So if you plan to update an opera, really study it, really learn to love it, and if you can't love it, maybe let it go. And if you can love it and you think you've got something that would be better said if you update it, then go for it. But respect the art form. It's so worth it. It's been touching people for centuries, and it still has that ability today. So that was my little lecture today. See you tomorrow.